Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this episode. Okay, welcome back to our Friday episode. It's all about your favorite F word, and I'm so happy. And I'm also sorry for not for not being online last night. I was really swamped with work. I actually went home at around maybe 1 a.m. This morning because I've had too much workload, but I'm so happy. I'm just so happy to be back. I'm just so happy to hustle. And I'm also very happy because finally I was able to have a schedule with our guest speaker for tonight. She's really busy as well, and we have different time zones. It's actually 7 in the morning in her time zone. So I'm just so grateful that we have this opportunity to have her tonight. But before that, I'd like to greet everyone. Hello. Hello, Sir Joseph. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hello, Sir Taig. Thank you so much for being one of the silent viewers, constant silent viewers. Hello, Dad. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good evening po sa inyo. This is Lorever. Good evening po, ma'am. Thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, please feel free to share this video so that there will be more viewers tonight because this is again one of my most one of my much awaited topics because this is all about fearlessness, and I'm so happy because I'm not the person to talk about this, and I we will be hearing it from someone who's also been practicing fearlessness not only in her personal choices but also in her career. And also I'd like to thank you. And I'd also like to thank the ones who have been constantly following the who have been constantly watching the previous episodes. Thank you so much. We are actually planning to change the term instead of the live stream. We're using the word podcast now so that it's easier for people to understand what it's all about. Because last time we had some nomenclature problems, depending on the generation that you're talking to. So we're gonna be changing instead of live stream to podcast because there are some notions, some wrong notions about live streams. So I'm gonna be changing it to podcast. So officially, we're calling it podcast. No longer shows, no longer live streams, no longer live sesh. All right. So this is a video podcast. The only difference is that we are doing it live, so you can chime in, you can join the conversation, you can definitely um, ask questions or maybe share your experiences as well, related to which is related to the topic. So again, our favorite F word for tonight is fearlessness. All right, and once again, welcome to my channel. It's Irene. I'm a real estate broker in the Philippines. I'm also a motivational speaker and a writer, and I do a lot of things in between. But for branding purposes, my marketing manager is gonna kill me if I have any other thing to say. So I'm just gonna stick to those three for now. All right. Without further ado, let me share with you who our guest speaker is for tonight. I'm so happy, excited for this. Okay. Beth Cole is an international keynote speaker and trainer with 15 years of experience inside and outside of the classroom. She loves to talk about Jesus, her family, and how faith has made an immense impact in her life journey. Everyone, let's give her a round of applause. Although we cannot virtually see you, but you get what I'm saying, right? Show some love, guys. Let's all welcome Beth. Hi, Beth. There
Hi.
you are. How are
Welcome
you?
from Dallas, Texas. Ko aga-aga dito na pa-makeup si Mrs. ko na super aga. So, but I'm glad to be here. And
I'm
it's
so
been,
glad.
right? It's been
Yeah.
almost 2 months. We met in
Yeah, I know,
May.
right?
And she's like, "Can you come?" I'm like, hindi pwede. I have to this is the time when I have to drive to work. So, buti na lang wala
Oh,
akong pasok ngayon. So,
yeah, I'm so happy. I've been looking forward to this day. Like we've been talking since May, and this is the first time ever that you're not busy for work. Yeah. So yeah, I'm very excited for this, and thank you so much. I mean, I know we have different time zones, and still you gave me the opportunity to have you as our guest tonight. So thank you so much for that.
you're
We have
welcome.
several guests and we have several audience. We have several people in the audience, so you might also want to say hi to them.
Hey guys, kumusta? I know you guys are probably winding down from dinner or siguro nagdi-dinner pa lang kayo or wala pa kayong balak mag-dinner but Thank you for taking the time out and spending time with us, with Mike, Ice, and I here in her podcast. Welcome. Good evening.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, thank you so much for to everyone who's been constantly been following our episodes. We the last episode that we had was last Wednesday. I think that was Empowerment Wednesdays. It's all about how who are the people that we should keep. Okay, so that was the topic last Wednesday. See,
Great topic.
yeah.
Been
You know,
there.
I've been hearing several exciting things from you. So I'd like our audience to hear that as well. So can you share something exciting that happened recently?
Right. So before that, I just really thank the Lord, you guys, for being for everything. It's been a crazy time. It has been super stupid crazy, but at the same time, you can just see the his handiwork in the background. And I'm just so thankful that we have our health and we have this platform that Ice and I met in Clubhouse. And if that didn't happen because of the current events, we wouldn't be here. So I'm so thankful to the Lord and thankful for you guys too, that you're here and that you're spending your time with us. So I am. I've been in the education field for a very long time, and I was a director of a small private Christian school in the Philippines, just for a little bit, just makatikim lang ako ng lang leadership, and it was very wonderful. But the Lord had different plans for me, and so he said, "Time to go back to the States." Okay, which is fine because my husband and my children are here. And ano na nag-asawa na yung panganay ko. So maybe I'm gonna be a lolly in a couple of years. Oh my gosh, I still can't comprehend it. My second daughter graduated from high school, and my son will be a senior next year. So malapit na talaga ako maging empty nester. So it's just all these things are coming together. And in my educational journey, I also have learned to kind of be a gauge of, like, on Wednesday, who should you keep in your circle and who should you say kind of like step away from. And I meet very different personalities, and people who are like really nice to your face and stab you in the back, and then leaders that really don't show up and like hindi ka pagtatanggol. And not just me, this is just common. And a lot of it is
Yeah,
because of the stress of what's going on. And we call that projection. So a lot of people project their frustrations on you. Lalo na pag nakita nila na, oh, you're so happy, you're so joyful, parang wala kang problema. Here, let me dump my junk on you. Boom. And then you're like, what the heck just happened? And it's
I
because they
know.
see a joy and a happiness in you, and they don't get it, and they want it, but they didn't realize they want it. And so they're going to drag you down. And that's kind of been my journey actually ever since I was young. Um, I guess the joy of the Lord is it's in my faith, it's in my life. And even though when I really don't feel like it, just people are still attracted to me. And so sometimes there's a negative, and you guys will notice that too in your life. Pag masaya ka talaga, people don't like to see you happy all the time. And that's kind of why the introduction to this next season in my life, it was very uncomfortable, my former work. And so February pa lang nag-resign na ako, but I finished my contract until June the 9th. And I was like, okay, Lord, I wanna go, connect with Filipino professionals and Asia. Yan ang ano sa akin. I just want to be a motivational speaker, kind of like exactly what you're doing, and just share the love of God and just be happy and spread lots of positivity and encouragement. And so I go into Clubhouse and just go nagiging ano ka na pang therapy, no? And I'm
I
like,
know.
okay, when I resigned after I told my husband, Clubhouse ang ano, una ko nag ano, nag sumbong. Is that the word? And then I'm into a lot of the faith rooms, and they prayed for me, and marami silang mga words of wisdom para sa akin, and words of knowledge. And it was like, just trust God, trust God, trust God. And so here I am in, hindi na ako nagtuturo. I'm resting, I'm networking, I'm getting to know everybody. And I'm like, okay, Lord, this is what you want for me. I'm slowly going to start my own business and, getting to know people and just encouraging them and learning so much from them. And I met Ice in that journey and I love it. And then I get a text on Monday and it was like, what? And my best friend from my old school, there's an opening in my school, mag-apply ka. Alam mo naman, hindi ako babalik sa classroom. Hindi, basta mag-apply ka. And I'm like, you know what? She's done so much for me. You have that friend na kahit papano, she doesn't take their crap and she will just defend you and anybody else.
Yeah.
Ay, yung pag mali, talagang niya. Ano yan? I'm gonna be
We
straightforward
all
with
have
you.
that friend.
Ganon siya.
Yeah.
Lord, sana ganun din ako kasi masyado akong mabait minsan, diba? And in the audience, I know you can relate to that. So, syempre, malaki utang ng loob ko sa kanya because she's always defended me. Never, like, stabbed me in the back. Always encouraged me. Diyos ko, sabi, the last time that I didn't take her advice, it was bad. So, like, sige na nga, Lord. Sabi ko, napa-update mo ako ng resume na di oras, wala. I'm on holiday. I don't want to do anything, that's work because I need
Yeah.
a toxic break, a break from all the toxicity. And then, I called her. She said, basta, sabi ko, ayoko mag-interview. I want her to give me the job. The job is yours. Ko, parang ano, nilolok mo lang ako, parang ganon. And after I hung up, somebody called me. Another friend from Clubhouse. He's like, Tita Beth, like what? I have a word for you. And what just happened? I go, oh, I gave her the summary of what just happened with my bestie. And yeah, I think I'm supposed to tell you the story. I'm like, okay, what story? He says, even if you're in the same environment, because you've gone through a change, how you look at things will be different. Everything will be different, even if
Oh.
the environment is the same. And I'm like, yo, like, Lord, Lord, ayoko, Lord, ha, ayoko. Lord, ano ba to,
That
Lord? Parang
resonated though.
motivation. I'm like, sige nga. So I went online and, ano yung resume ko? Ay my gosh, luma na ito. Sige na, update ko ng konti. And I emailed the principal and she's like, oh, sige, pwede ako Wednesday. I'm like, all right. And so I had all of Tuesday to think about it. And Tuesday morning, God just gave me this little impression in my mind, pagising ko sa umaga. And he said, when you go for that interview tomorrow, you're going to ask her how she's going to convince you to go back into the classroom. So that's one of the things that, one of those fearless moments that I was like, oh, nga, no? I'm also the one interviewing the boss to make sure that she's the right fit for me. And syempre, like any good leader would do, I didn't act on it right away. I went to Clubhouse and to my leaders, and Ice was there. And and that's another tip. I surrounded myself with professionals who are uplifting and just sharing knowledge and
Yeah.
who are leaders in their field,
Hmm.
and invested time hanging out with them, just being an encouragement. And so I was able to ask these leaders. These are like business owners. They've been through a lot. And so syempre tinanong ko sila. Like, oh, sige, guys, what do you think? What if I flip? What if I turn the interview? Or I flip the table, flip the script, kumbaga. And all of them were like shocked. And they even admitted, I don't know if I could answer that question, Tita Beth, but that's a good question to ask. Because, kasi syempre 15 years na ako nagtuturo, no? I have the qualifications. I have certification. Just ko po, may master's degree ako. I have to deal with imposter syndrome. That's one of the things about being fearless too. Imposter syndrome na yan, no? There's just a lot of
Yeah,
just
tell us
people.
about imposter syndrome. I mean,
Okay,
a lot of people are suffering from that.
ano yung imposter syndrome? Because as a culture, Filipinos are not raised to encourage the people around them to be a better leader. And, parang, ay, kailangan maging humble ka all the time, tahimik, don't make
I know.
waves. So, here I am dealing with imposter syndrome. I have 15 years experience. I have a master's degree. I'm certified in 6 different areas, including my principal certificate. So, pwede akong maging principal sa state of Texas. Because I passed all the
Oh,
tests.
wow.
Yeah. And then I've gone through all these trainings. And then I'm like, why do I feel like I'm not good enough to give advice? Do I feel like I have to beg people to give me the time of day? Ganon yun. So that's imposter syndrome. You guys are qualified wherever you are. Pero there's that parang, ay, hindi na lang, wag na lang, nakakahiya. Ganon, like, oh, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm not the right person. And you are. And you are. And, we have, we have a lot of negativity going on. They're just people, and there's just a lot of things that happen because they don't want to see us succeed. And so that imposter syndrome is very prevalent in the Filipino community. And
I
then
know. It's
and
so true.
then we have smart shaming. Ay, tolino mo naman. Parang you make us
It
all
is so
look
true. I don't
bad.
understand that too. I mean,
Yes,
it's one of the worst, I guess. When not when you're on top of your class, or maybe just just you're just smart, like you understand pretty much everything and you can talk about pretty much anything, and people are like, oh, ikaw na lang ang matalino, things like that.
right.
It can get really annoying, but I don't understand
Because
why it's
because
like
you're
that. I
dealing
mean,
with their imposter syndrome. So they're
oh,
projecting their imposter syndrome on you because they don't
oh,
think they're good enough. So when they see someone with confidence and fearlessness and fierceness, they're like, ay, ikaw na lang. And so if you think about it that way,
mm,
and you can just say, pinoproject mo naman yung imposter syndrome mo sa akin eh. Ayoko nga. If you approach it like that, kind of in a teasingly manner, it will help them. Syempre sa Filipino, kailangan, you can't be like, well, I'm going to be straightforward with you. And you have imposter syndrome and you have things you need to deal with. And I
I
don't have
can't
time
do
for that
that.
drama. You go back to your mama, you go to therapy. Naku, hindi ang obren sa Filipino, no? So you have to, and just have to say, hmm? You have to tease them. May imposter syndrome ka na naman. Ano ba yan? And if you do it that way, in a kind way, in a gentle way, they'll be like, ay, oo nga, no. Okay. And then you like, ay, sige, ikaw na lang sa susunod. You also have to plan. You have to plan your response. You have to have a plan of action when you get that kind
Mhm.
of nega in your life. You do. And sometimes the plan of action is, it depends on the situation. It depends on the personality of the person you're talking to. So you have to just be more aware because you are a leader. You have been around leaders, and now that parang na-open na yung mind mo about this, it's really not about you. When you are smart shamed, they're embarrassed that they didn't do their best, and so when they see someone doing their best, they're like, "I dito ka na lang sa level ko." It's just another way of crab mentality because they put themselves in this bowl instead of giving themselves permission to be fearless. And a lot of it again is cultural. We are taught
Yeah.
not to stand out, we are taught not to speak out, we are taught
Yeah.
to do our best, and then okay, oh, no, 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 that's so, no, 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 I don't deserve the thanks, and that will really mess you up psychologically. So, and guys in the audience, own it. Ay, galing mo naman. Thank you so much. I really practiced, I have rehearsed this speech, or I've worked really hard and I'm so glad that it paid off. Thank you so much for noticing. Yung mga ganon. And a great person to talk about that is Dr. Abby Hamilton. So, hanapin niyo siya sa Facebook's Instagram and Clubhouse. She's a Filipina psychologist, I think
Oh,
industrial.
wow.
Yeah, and she
Oh, I haven't met her yet. Is she in Makati House?
she's in mostly in Bahay Kubo. She's in Bahay
Oh,
Kubo,
Bahay Kubo.
tambay lang.
Okay,
But I'm gonna try to have her speak in Makati House because
great.
this is her dissertation. Why aren't
Oh,
Filipinos speaking
wow.
up? She studied it, so that's a great person to
Wow.
add on to your lineup. And just if you want to see leadership from a Filipino point of view, you go to her. You go to her Instagram.
Wow.
She posts stuff every day, especially on how a Filipino should react. And she's like, "Anak, speak up." Yung mga ganong topic. Um, she is. Oh my gosh, she's like my my sister from another mister. Kasi magkaano kami magkatugma. We're just
Same wavelength.
same wavelength. So yeah, so
Uh-huh.
this is their imposter syndrome projected on you. Okay, so you have to think about that every time are offended or insulted or put down. It's not you, it's them. And so, yeah, nagiging ako, tambakan ng mga projected frustration ng mga tao. I'm like, whatever. And that's where your faith comes in. Because number one, they don't pay your bills. These people who are putting you down, they don't pay your bills. Diyos ko po,
Yeah,
why are you trying to please people who don't like you in
exactly.
the first place? Bakit ka nag-aamo sa kanila? Oh, ganito. Like, not everybody's gonna like you. If you have some haters, that means you're doing good. If everybody likes you, there's something wrong.
There's something you're
There's
yeah,
something
exactly.
wrong. So,
There's something you're doing wrong.
yeah,
If
yeah.
everybody likes you.
If you have haters, you're doing a good job. You're the right path. Unfortunately, and so
Yeah.
this is like, oh my gosh, all this wisdom and knowledge that like me, such a smart person, and syempre may pagka naive, innocente na you think people have your best interests. No, they have their best interests, and if your interests get in the way of their best interests, they'll make sure that you're out of the way. And that's where a lot of the crazy stuff's going on. And
Yeah.
so ito na. So I decided to flip the script. I tested it out on my friends who are also leaders in their field. Parang lahat sila go, go, go. Pati sa LinkedIn, I'm very active there. And pati mga leaders doon, like, ay, that's a great idea. Parang, we didn't think about that, right? Who? Why, like, why wouldn't you think about that? And so that's where the leadership mindset comes in as well. So, yan ay, si kagabi. No, Wednesday, I had my interview.
Mm-hmm.
And matawag na mga tao, ano, interview? Hindi pa, hold on. It had to be moved. So interview comes. I had to share my experiences, my just a little bit about my personality and how I would handle things in the classroom and outside the classroom. Just normal questions. And then, syempre, at the end, the interviewer will almost always ask, do you have any questions for us? And I said, I actually do. And she's like, okay, what are you going to do to convince me, a teacher who just left the classroom, to come back and work for you? Tapos yung principal, parang, you could tell that she got nervous, but she had that big smile on her face na parang, that's a good question. Parang, oo nga, no? Like, I don't, I don't need this job. I'm not gonna act desperate. I want to make sure, syempre, I've made that mistake before. And you have too, probably in the audience. Parang, it's a job, okay, it pays, and then you come in, and you're like, Jesus, pwede bumalik ka na, Lord. Ayoko na dito. Uwi ka na, balik ka na, Jesus. Yung mga ganong prayer, di ba? Like, ay, Panginoon. Uwi ka na. Okay. And I told her that. Like, I need to make sure that you're the leader for me, just as you're making sure that I'm the teacher for your organization. And I
Yeah,
asked
yeah.
her, how would you deal with these employees? May mga cliques, mga mean girl, yung mga chismosa. Ano yung mga protocols mo, ano mga strategies mo? And she actually answered really well. she said, she has passion for the children, and she wants to also lead the teacher. Syempre, siya yung teacher ng mga teachers, leader ng mga
Yeah.
teachers. And especially this crazy time that these kids are, it's just this environment. And it's, um, the kids are, ano yung parang super stressed out na sila. And then she wants to make sure that the children parang survive, hindi lang survive, thrive. And then she said that, to handle different personalities at school, I'll talk to them privately. If it's a different situation, I will also go to my supervisor and make sure na tama yung source of, yung, ano to, yung action ko before I actually apply it. So
Mm-hmm.
she gave me good answers, gave me parang I felt confident that I will be taken care of in her organization, ganon. And at the end, it was very pleasant, and she shared some personal things, ganon. Mahilig siya sa Red Bull. So, yeah, maingat kayo sa mga Red Bull na yan. Sabi ko, ay nako, ayokong ibigyan kita ng CPR ha, sa sobrang dami mong Red Bull na iniinom. Like, I didn't treat her more, treated her more like an equal instead of like, oh, like, yung, siya yung amo, ikaw yung, yung, katulong, yung ganon. I may be her employee, or I could be her possible employee, but at the same time, I have to, a good employee calls out the actions of an employer sometimes, especially in the health.
That's true.
Like,
That's
oo,
true.
so yung parang ginawa ko Filipino style. Ko, ayokong i-CPR kita ha. Sabi niya, oo nga, kaya nga binabawasan ko. Okay, okay. Yung mga ganon. Because that also means that you're concerned for them. And it's not one
Yeah.
way. Because if you keep on receiving and receiving and receiving as an employee, but you don't give back as much, or yung
That's
minimum
not good
lang
as
ang
well.
effort mo, it's not good for the organization.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I don't know what's going to happen. Like, Tuesday is when she'll email me kasi holiday din siya. Sabi ko, magpahinga ka. This is your first time being a principal in the school. Kailangan mo ng pahinga talaga. You have over 1,000 people that you have to be, in charge of. And, good luck sa kung sino i-hire mo. And, I'm confident that you'll hire the best person. And that's it. I'm not just like, if you hire me, this is what I'll do. I'll make punas dito, linis. Like, no. Don't be desperate. That's the thing. When you're in a job interview, be fearless, be fierce, be desperate, and don't be desperate, be courageous, but most of all, be yourself. If what they interviewed is what they see, because many times, I mean, even in your diba, yung interview characteristic, your interview personality, iba yung sa yung na-hire na siya eh. Parang, ay, ganito ka pala. Ay, hindi, and they were
Ang bait ng
disappointed.
interview and then
Right, right. Parang ang ganda ng interview face mo, tapos pagdating sa actual
right.
work, burara ka pala. Ay, mga ganon. Or even your personality, it was like, you're parang fake. And,
Yeah.
oo, sila mismo nagsabi sa
No,
akin.
that's not a syndrome. No, no, that's what we call as an imposter. Real
Yes,
time.
yes. Oh, that's true. Parang, kunyaring galing-galing mo, tapos, but you shouldn't do that. If you're going to talk to your employer, whatever they see is what they get. And that's what they told me yung interview panel. Parang it looks like you are, who you are right now is who we're going to get in our school. And sila mismo nagsabi that they've gotten so many, parang fakers. And that's very hard to deal with too, because in the teaching world, may kontrata ka isang taon. So, syempre, kung hindi good fit yung tao, you have to suck it up. You have to, like, for 1 year, pagtitiisin mo yan until the contract's over. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I learned from my previous encounters and interviews, they learned as well. And, this has been probably the best interview I've ever had. It
Oh,
was.
wow.
It
I
was.
can
I
imagine.
planned for it. Yeah, I planned for it. I asked
You
people,
prayed for it, you planned
pray
for
for
it,
it.
you
Oh, si Lord.
discussed with
Oh,
people,
it
right?
takes si Lord lahat yan. Wala ako dyan. Because wala nga ako balak bumalik sa classroom tapos biglang, hoy, mag-apply ka. Mag-apply. Ano ba yan? And I have to pout. Syempre, kailangan. And it's okay to pout in private and even with your friends. Ay, nako. Yung mga ganon. But you have to get that negative energy out
Hmm.
and then go for it if you think that's it. And even if you don't get it, here's the thing about being fearless. It doesn't matter whether you get the job or not, or you get the girl or you get the guy or whatever. You have to be confident in who you are. Especially pag bilang anak ka ng Diyos. That's the number one priority. Am I a child of God? Am I doing what I'm supposed to do? Am I praying? Am I reading the Bible? Am I surrounding myself with people like me? Hindi naman 100%, you guys. That's not healthy either. Am I reading inspirational books? Am I allocating my time properly? Because if you're not confident in who you are, it doesn't matter when if you get the job or not. At the end of the day, you still have to face yourself. And if you're
Yeah,
dealing with imposter syndrome and you don't like who you are, then that job is not going to help you get to where you
yeah.
need to be. So yun lang. That's my story. So I hope I didn't mean to be long-winded, but there's just a lot to unpack in that story.
I
And
know.
uh, yeah,
There's a
yeah,
lot
I
to
know. I
learn,
went like,
and there's like, yeah.
I hope they hire me, pero I hope they don't hire me. Yung ganon.
No, I mean, I can imagine because you were like, you were already set up for not going back to the classroom, and then you suddenly decided to go back to the classroom, or maybe just to go to that interview. And for sure, I mean, they're gonna get you. I'm pretty sure about that. So the next question would probably be, should I take it? Because
Mm,
I mean, there's already like 99.9% that they're gonna get you, right? But the next prayer would be, am I gonna take this one? Because you've already set up your mind that you're not gonna go back to the classroom, at least for the meantime, right?
right.
Um.
And
Uh-huh.
no, it's like,
So
Lord, tulungan mo ko. That's my next step. And I'm sharing
yeah,
the this with you honestly because you're going to probably have that same situation later on in your life journey.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
gonna have a
I mean,
job,
crossroads, right?
right? And then you're
Everybody
like,
will have crossroads.
Lord, para sa akin ba to, Lord? And even the interview, wala talaga akong balak. But two friends called me that day. One to offer to push me to apply, the other one to confirm. Like, you should do it. Lord, ano ba yan, Lord? Kailangan ba talagang may ano pa may ibigay pa ng prostrado sa akin yung, will ni Lord. Ito na dear. Buksan mo na yan. God doesn't work that way. But we want God to work
Yeah,
that way. Like, parang yung ganon, ano ba yung fortune teller sa papel yun? Oo, hindi.
yeah.
Like, God
Yeah, I
doesn't work
remember that
like
one.
that. So you
Yeah,
just
I
have to
remember
take
that
a leap of
one.
faith.
It's like
Anyways,
it's like
guys.
it's like flipping a coin anyway. I mean, okay, so I hope it works that way, right? But it doesn't. Like, God's not gonna give you as expected. He's gonna give you like a puzzle, and it's really for you to find out what it's gonna be, right? I mean,
Right.
sometimes it's really as easy as one, two, three. Sometimes you have to unpack it. Sometimes you have to really, is that what do you call it? Like you have to dig deeper so that you'll get to understand what it's all about. I mean, I've been there too. I've had several experiences in the past as well. I've had several crossroads that um should I do this or should I do that? But either way, I'm gonna sacrifice one or the other. So things like that. So speaking of that, before that, let me just say hi to my previous boss who's actually watching right now. Hello, Sir Noel. He's one of my,
Hi,
he's one of
sir.
my, he's one of my bosses when I was still in my 20s. So he met me when I was really young. So he's always constantly watching my podcast. So thank you so much, Roy Noel. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so speaking of sacrifice, right? So if you're in a crossroads, I mean, I have been asked several times by certain friends asking me about crossroads, and they're telling me, do you have to sacrifice if you have to choose something? So I'll ask you that because you're there. I'd like to ask you this question. You're facing at this point, it's like you're facing a crossroads, right? So do you do you think you have to sacrifice anything meaningful to get what you want?
Well, if I decide to accept this job, I'm going to have to sacrifice or put in the back burner. So yung parang hindi mo na priority
Mm-hmm.
yung my own business. I'm
Right.
going to have to sacrifice put on hold, not necessarily sacrifice. Put on hold my my plans for myself because
Mm-hmm.
his plans are better than way better than what my plans are. So I'm going to trust in the Lord na itong opportunity na ito ay hindi masasayang. But at
Yeah.
the same time, that'll probably give me the incentive to work on my plan and just give myself better boundaries. So yun, yung ang sa sacrifice ko is comfort. Like, I like not having to wake up early. Are you kidding me? I like not having a plan. I like just,
Sleeping in.
oh, hatid ko lang yung anak ko sa work. Okay, I walk the dog, have some coffee, go on Clubhouse, konting work. I want that
Have your
life.
time for
I want that
yourself.
life, right? And so I think
Don't we
that
all?
I'll pause my dream for myself for now because I know that if no, not if, when I start really really focusing on what the Lord wants for me, then hopefully my dreams will align for to his plans, and he'll just make it easier. So yan ang sacrifice. The sacrifice ko talaga yung personal dream ko. And maybe it's just a taste of what parang in the future, okay, tikim lang yan, Beth, because I want you to strive to have this full time. But right now, ito muna ang assignment ko
Oh.
sa'yo. So that's why,
Oh.
di ba, God puts you sometimes in
That's a
situations.
very good point.
Tikim.
I
Tikim
like
lang
it.
yan. Because, nung umuwi ako ng Philippines and I stayed there for a few months and naging director ako ng isang school in Makati, you know, yung God answered my prayer that hindi naman siya prayer, actually it was just wishful thinking. Ay Lord,
Yeah.
ano kaya Lord kung maging principal ako before I'm 40? And so he gave me that school at 39. Yung mga ganong
Oh wow.
yeah, and then my father's dream for me, because he was a pastor. So, syempre, he
Oh.
surrounded himself by leaders. Oh my gosh, Diyos ko po. Yung mga leaders na mga kilala niya, like, si may-ari ng ganito, business ng ganyan. It was just amazing his sphere of influence. And so when I kind of stepped into his role after he died, and he told me before, like, anak, my dream for you is to um, train the teachers. Kasi magaling kang teacher eh. Sayang yung experience mo sa classroom. And so sometimes what you're doing is a manifestation of your parents' dreams for you. And so when I took over, just briefly, the school, parang natupad na yung pangarap ng ama ko. But he had to pass away to kind of, um, for me to realize his dream. And so that's another thing too. Sometimes you really have to sacrifice time with your own family, time with my husband, kasi syempre nasa Amerika sila. So pabalik-balik ako sa Philippines. But they knew it was important chapter in my life, and they knew that I had to do it. And they were fine kasi busy naman sila. Sanay naman sila si mommy every few years umuwi sa Philippines. But they're like, Mom, don't do it again. We miss you so much. And now that, paalis na yung mga anak ko, I am able to do this more, but God had to give me a taste 5 years ago. And so now I realize that He's giving me a taste of what could be my life in the future. But I have to come back and make a plan and work hard and follow His direction. And alam mo yung kahit na syempre no, hindi ka naman oo sa lahat ng ano niya, no? It's just human nature. You're like, Lord, ayoko. I don't want to make that call. Ayoko bumangon ng maaga. Lord, ayoko mag-makeup. Ayoko mag-plancha. Yung mga ganun, ano, ayoko maligo. Lord, ano ba yan? Hilams pa ako. Mag-makeup kumako. Yung mga ganun. But, I know.
I can totally relate to you. Don't worry. I
Right?
totally get what you're saying.
Ayoko, Lord. Ayoko, Lord. And it's going to be a battle. But if you really and it's called delighting yourself in the Lord. Utos lang naman niya ang gusto niyang sundin eh. That's it. That's it. And that's already delighting yourself in the Lord. So if you do delight yourself in the Lord, and it promises sa Bible eh, He will make your path straight. That's simple. And our stupid selves, our selfish selves, our lazy selves don't want that. Kasi mahirap talaga, mahirap. Bumangon maaga, mag-pray, mag-read ng Bible, magluto, maglinis, Hindi pwede ikaw na lang, guy. Can you read the Bible for me? No, you can't do that. You can't you can pawn off the other chores, but your personal development, that's on you. And so there's a lot of sacrifices as a leader. And I know in the audience, whether you're a parent or a child or an adult, a boss or an employee, everybody has a level of sacrifice that they have to give or they're undergoing so that the fruits of their labor will be enjoyed immensely. So I want to end with this. I know. Do you have, I think, are we almost at the end of that? Um, this quote I read, but or just go. I think I heard on Instagram. To get what you want, you have to many times do what you hate.
Can you
It's
say it
not
again?
do what
To
you love. To get what you want, you have to
wait,
do
I'm
what
gonna
you
write
hate.
that.
Again, yan,
I'm
audience,
gonna.
sulat niyo yan. Because that's so counter our culture. Counter just the contemporary culture right now. You do what you love.
To,
Puro na lang do what you love. No! Do what you hate. Lord, ako gumising ng maaga. Do what you hate. Yung list all the things you don't want to do. My Lord, I don't want to make that phone call. Do it. I don't want to make that email. Write that email. Do it. I don't want to text. I don't want to do this podcast. Yeah, do it. So I think that sums up sacrifice in a small quote. To get what you want, you have to do what you hate.
you have to do what you hate. You have to do what you hate. I have to memorize it and instill in my head and in my heart. And also, there's a thank you from the audience. That's one of my friends who's Doctor. Hi, Doc.
Hi, Doc.
Thank you so much for tuning in. And yes, I think she knows what you meant by, the things that we hate doing. Just a quick background of this live stream. Oh, sorry, I already changed it to podcast. Okay. So in 2018, I started doing this because I have been teaching for a long while, like a long while now. And so people were telling me that I'm like a light bulb. Like, although I didn't believe in it because I had the worst case scenario of imposter syndrome before, people were telling me, you have a gift for talking. Like, you can talk to anyone and make their day brighter without any effort. And I didn't know that I had that effect. So it was just random people telling me that, you have this gift, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared to be in front of the camera. What if people judge me? What if people, blah, blah, blah? I was like, I had so many what ifs. Then finally one day I said, okay, so let's try this. I'm gonna do it finally. So I did it one Saturday afternoon. I remember this very carefully. It's still on my Facebook account. One Saturday afternoon, I told everyone in my team to go home early because I'm gonna do something. And then I did a I did a live stream in 2018. That was the very first live stream I ever had. Maybe I'm gonna save it and upload it here, and then I can compare what I used to look like before, because I was really so self conscious back then. And then so it was like every Saturday. It was not consistent, but I did it anyway, just to, just to get the hang of it. And then eventually I got the hang of it. But it was only me. I didn't have guests and stuff. And then last year, so I never really took it seriously because I was so busy with work, and I felt like I don't know if people are watching. Like, are they really watching though? I mean, who cares about me doing this live stream? Who are they? Who am I for them to listen to, right? And then in 2020, I'm pretty sure you know that we had a lockdown last year in here. It was a very long lockdown. We had a lockdown
Yeah.
for like 60 days. It was crazy. And then everyone's getting insane because everyone got used to traveling. Everyone got used to, getting out of their houses and stuff. And I was one of those people who's about to lose her head because of cabin fever.
Right.
I was like, oh my God, if I'm not gonna die of COVID fever, I'm gonna die of cabin fever. But my friends are telling me, I think we need you to talk about something positive. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you talking to me? I'm also experiencing the same thing. And they were telling me that, the difference. We are all experiencing the same thing, but you know the difference? You can talk anyone out of it. I'm like, really? I can do that? So I did. And then eventually it became consistent until most recently, I think in May or maybe in April, I did it every single night. I didn't care about, if there's just one person in the audience or maybe 100% in the audience. I didn't care. I remember you told me about, the prayer room in Clubhouse. You told me that if you're here, you're meant to be here. And it really struck me. And it's actually one of the inspirations that I have every time I have my podcast. I was like, oh, Beth told me that if you're here, then you're meant to be here. If you're not here, then you're meant to be somewhere else. And you shouldn't, it's not a bad thing to have one audience or maybe none in the audience, because you never know who's going to watch it on the replay. And then recently, I received several messages telling me that there are so many people watching the replay, because when you look at it like this, it's like there's no one in the audience or maybe just a few of them. But when you look at the replay, there's a lot of views. So that means there are a lot of people who are watching it on the replay. And so that is true enough. Some people actually send me a message that, sorry, we cannot really fit into your time zone because it's really too late. So some people send me a message from Australia, from the US. It was a different time zone, Canada. Like, oh, okay. So that's where the views are coming from. Those who are watching it on the replay. It was really fun. So now I'm doing this not because I really love what I'm doing, but it's because of a bigger purpose, bigger than my own purpose. Because everyone has a gift that you have to use, right? And so hopefully I'm being able to use mine in a good way, and hopefully we're able to share our insights, our ideas, values, or whatever we can share to our audience. And I'm grateful, Beth. Thank you so much for being one of
Yeah.
my
On
influences.
absolutely. Something just occurred to me, parang niremind sa akin ni Lord. We weren't meant to have this podcast in May. We were meant to have it now. Because in May, I wouldn't have had these experiences to share with you in the audience.
Yeah,
Di ba? Nangyari na sa amin
exactly.
yung isang araw lang. And how would I,
Yeah,
like, 2 months later, right? So that a lot can happen in 2 months. And, when the Lord says it's time, and it's time. Kahit na gusto mo, talagang minsan nakarangan niya yan. It's like, di ba, Lord? Di ba? And he's like, nak, hindi pa. It's not time. And look where we are right now.
yeah.
Look where we are.
And do you remember that I only chimed in because I had a 10-minute break from my
Yes.
class, because I was having a class, and I was like, where on earth is that sound coming from? I was like, I'm having a class. There's a sound coming from somewhere. And I forgot to leave the Makati house. And you were all there, right? I chimed in.
Yeah.
I didn't chime in. I actually just stopped it, and I was like, I'm gonna listen whenever it's break. And it's right about time. That 10-minute window, that 10-minute break, that's exactly the time you're also talking about the interview. I was like, oh my God, this is the perfect time. And then I invited you, and then it worked out. I mean,
Hindi
we
pa ako,
tried, right?
I don't think the interview pa ako nun eh. I think I was just talking about the interview.
Yeah, you were
Yeah,
talking about the
planning.
interview.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you were.
planning what I
It
was
was
gonna do.
Wednesday morning here, so it was Tuesday night, your
Yes,
time.
that's right. That's right. Hindi pa ako na-interview.
Yeah,
So, see?
yeah.
See?
So that's a 10-minute window, Beth. How what are the chances of having a 10-minute window and you exactly talking about the topic that we want to hear tonight? So oh my God, amazing! It's
Yep.
just so
Si Lord
amazing.
lang yan. Si Lord lang yan. I'm just thankful to be here to share my experiences and have this lovely, lovely audience that's listening from all over the world. And right now it's probably in the Philippines, but if you're from Australia, China, the US, UK, Dubai, South America, Africa, Europe, welcome. And I hope you guys received a lot of value. I did, especially. So I'm sure you did too. So, hello.
And to the ones who are watching the replay, because some
That's
people
right.
just chime in during the replay. Thank you so much for watching. I mean, if you're here because you are meant to be here. That's what I learned from Beth. It's really amazing how we learn things from, it used to be random people, right? We used to be just randomly, just like the prayer room in Makati House. I
Yep.
mean, in Clubhouse, I was just here trying to click on the on the rooms there, and suddenly
Right.
I was in the prayer room. It's like, oh, this is perfect. I think I need to pray. That's a very, very good reminder. And then that's what you said, like, you're here, you're meant to be here. Doesn't
Yep.
matter if there's no one there or if there's just one. You're meant to be here. And it was like, oh, that's so heartwarming. That was also one of the moments I was doubting if I will continue this
Oh, talaga?
podcast thing. Yeah,
Ah,
because I was like, this is a lot of work. I mean, there's a lot of work behind this. You're gonna find out soon enough because you're gonna have your podcast too. So you have to conceptualize, you have to invite people, and if you're not inviting people, you have to study about your material that you're gonna be talking about, and it's very challenging because it's live. I cannot commit a mistake. I always have to watch the boundaries, a lot of boundaries, of course, like racial boundaries, cultural boundaries, or whatever. Being very politically correct all the time. Yeah, so there's a lot of work behind the scenes, and it's just a 1 hour thing, but there's a lot of work behind it. Maybe around 3 to 4 hours of work every single episode. So
oh,
it's like, should I stop this already? Because it's taking a lot of time and effort. And then you told me, no, if there's only one audience there, that person is meant to be there. And that's so heartwarming. So, okay, I'm gonna do this every single night because we
right.
never know who needs it.
Yeah, and I need your help because Diyos ko, mag-uumpisa ako ng sarili kong podcast and guys, the first person who volunteered. Kasi I posted something on Instagram and she liked it and I'm like, "Oh, can you be in my podcast?" And she was like, "Nahiya nga ako sabihin if mag-volunteer." Guys, she's a big businesswoman sa Philippines. Parang nahihiya siya to be nahiya ka mag-volunteer. Ako nga nahihiya sa'yo humingi. And that was just so heartwarming for me because, you know, kahit na big business woman ka or big businessman, you still have your vulnerabilities. It's kind of like weird, awkward to volunteer to be on somebody's podcast, right? And so that she gave me the courage to actually like whoever responded to aking Instagram, okay, you're gonna be my podcast, right? And what are you guys gonna talk about? And oh, we're just gonna talk about like personal growth and development. Ganon. Yung madali lang, hindi nothing to be deep. And then because I surrounded myself with leaders and go-getters and business owners
Yeah,
in their
yeah,
space. Ngayon,
yeah.
hindi na ako, hindi na ako nagpapaalam. Inuutusan ko na sila, okay, you're gonna be on my podcast, right? You're gonna be on my podcast.
I'm
You're gonna
gonna
be on
be
my
on your
podcast.
podcast.
That's right. You're gonna be on my podcast. Everybody's gonna be on my podcast. Parang na-shock sila. Parang, what? O sige, sige, Tita Beth, sige. But it wasn't like parang I just came into this room of business people and inutusan ko sila. No, I spent months with them. I gave my
Yeah, yeah.
just hang around.
Build
Walang
relationships.
yeah, I built my relationship.
Yeah,
Walang I had no agenda. I had no hidden agenda.
yeah.
So when the time came for the ask or the utos, hindi nga ask eh. The
The
voluntold.
command. Go the command.
I voluntold you. Um, it was the yes was so easy
Hmm.
because they already knew who I am. They knew that I wasn't like wala akong agenda or anything. This is more of like
Yeah.
a homework for my leadership group.
Passion project, as the
Yeah,
millennials call it.
yeah, my passion project. And so, parang, oh my gosh, itong leaders, super leaders sila sa mga may malaking following sa Facebook, super talino, parang, minsan nababob, I feel so smart, pero pag when I'm with you, parang, ay, ang bubo ko. Parang tumas ang IQ ko ng konti. Ay, salamat. Yung mga ganon. And, and you always have to encourage people, even though sometimes they're like, and you're like, but you
Oh,
have to find
hold on.
something positive.
Now I remember Cecile. I have to say hi to Cecile because I'm gonna share this link to her. Hi, Cecile. I'm also inviting her.
Yay! So yeah, and yes, Tita
Hi,
Cecile.
Cecile.
She's gonna be on my podcast. Woo! I'm so excited. My
Yeah.
future yet to be. Tapos ko kailangan ko ng I really really need to do my the thing that I hate, which is buckle down and plan. And I was
Yeah.
like, analyze ko, bakit I don't want to plan. I don't want to sit down and write it out because I'm a teacher. I have to plan every day, like 6 to 8 hours a week. Talagang minsan
Oh,
more.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
parang it felt like work. So one thing that one tip that I could share with you guys, and which works for me, is if you don't feel like doing it, find someone who is already successful at doing it, and like Ivy, like Ice, um, and just ask for help. That's it. Ask for help. Sometimes
Yeah.
it will take time for you to understand it kasi tanda na si Tita Beth, no? So ideas take longer to like form in my brain, but once I get it, solid na siya. Like
Yeah.
yeah, it'll take me a month or two, but once I get it, it's like
It's
I've
done.
parang
It's done
kinagat ko
for.
na siya and I'm not gonna let go.
Yeah.
And so if you're afraid of doing anything, go find somebody who's successful. And then there's this psychologist, I think her name is Mel Robbins. Yung meron siyang technique, just 5, 4, 3, 2,
Oh
1,
yeah, that's
do it.
Mel Robin.
Yeah, countdown. And at first I was like, napakasimple naman yan. And then when I did it, I was like, ay, oo nga,
It
no?
was hard. It's hard. I've been reading her books. I mean all her challenges were really, oh, that's easy. And when I tried it, like I literally tried it in the morning. It was like, oh my god, she was right. So the 5 4 it was so hard. It was every single day. It's like a crossroad too.
Right. And we don't have nanay or tatay or lola to make palo. Ano? 5, 4, 3. You're like, oh, that's
Yeah,
this, right? So we have to give ourselves up.
it's really you.
Right. Self-discipline talaga. I hate,
Yeah,
I hate self-discipline. But if you want to get to where you want, you really, really have to die to yourself. Yan, yung lahat ng lahat ng wants and needs that that's counterproductive to your success. You're gonna have to like take that knife and stab yourself. Like, I mean, that's a gross,
yeah.
that's a kind of gruesome visual, but it's true. You know,
I know.
you want to say, but Lord,
Yeah,
ang sarap ng rice.
I know. But that's a good point. I mean, ever since I never really understood what it meant by dying to yourself. I never really understood it until I had to do it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like you really have to choose a bigger purpose over your own personal selfish motives,
Right.
like eating a lot of rice because I eat like 4 cups of rice every single day
Oh my
per
god.
meal. So
You
that's a
have a
lot
good
of discipline.
metabolism. That's all I could say.
Yeah. Yeah. I have
Barely.
I have a quick I think quick metabolism, is that what they call it?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's one of the advantages, but it's not good for any. I mean, for anything else, it's not good. Whether you have good metabolism or not, it's really not good. You know,
Mhm.
there's a lot of carbohydrates in a day. So anyway, yeah, you really have to diet to yourself so that you can have bigger goals. And just like, doing exercises, it's really hard, but it's gonna pay off eventually. And the
Right.
good thing about it is it's not really for everybody else. It's actually for you,
Mhm.
for a better body, or maybe for better health. Really for you. It's just that there's a lot of dying that you need to do.
There's a lot of dying. And then, if I may end with this, being part of your being fearless is also planning once you've achieved that goal. Like, parang in the middle of your goal, you have to already have a different goal. So, okay,
Hmm.
oy, na-achieve ko na to. Because a lot of times, especially, this is, siguro sa Pilipino to. Pag na-achieve mo na yung goal, okay, I'm done. Walang
Yeah.
maintenance. Oh, I lost 20 pounds for my wedding. Okay. Tapos lamang na ulit pagkatapos ng kasal. Like, and then your husband's like, yo, what happened to you? And like, what do you mean? I thought you promised to love me, warts and all yung mga ganon. But you also have to plan for your success. How are you
Dapat may
going to maintain
continuity.
it? What are you going to do afterwards? Because and that's my challenge right now. Okay, I have to plan for when I get the job. But because of right now, oh, I don't have to work. But if I get the job and I don't plan for when I get the job, because okay, let's say I don't get the job, and I can throw away that plan. But if I didn't plan for it, then parang hindi smooth yung hindi smooth yung transition. I have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
plan to go back and I have to work a little bit a week early. Yung mga ganon. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, plan for your success and plan on how to maintain that success. Because if
Yeah.
you did all these things and you're fearless and you got it, wala kang plano, Diyos ko, paano yun? Tao
You're
yun.
just fearless,
Yes,
but
yeah, fearless.
nothing else.
That's it. We got to plan. You got to plan for your success. You got to plan for your failures. That's true too. If I didn't get this, then this is what I have to do. You plan. You
Yeah.
have to plan either way, and we hate it. I don't like planning, even though that's part and parcel of
Ouch.
my occupation. Just go pag walang lesson plan ng teacher, unless like you've taught for a long time, and it's just seamless na siya. You're gonna set yourself up for failure. So being
Yeah.
fearless doesn't mean that you stop being fearless. Uh, you also being fearless means you have to plan for failure.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
my
I totally agree with that. Because you have to manage your expectations as well. It's not all success. I mean, you're probably gonna have one success and 99 failures.
Mm-hmm.
And people who quit are those who did not plan what their failure is gonna be. Because
That's
you
right.
really have to manage your expectations as well. I mean, yeah, we are the go-getters that we are. We know what we want, we get what we want, but what if you don't? Because
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of factors affecting or surrounding that particular goal. And if you don't know what are the factors that may cause your failures, or if there are unknown factors that eventually cause your failures, if you don't know how to handle them, then fearlessness is also not the entire formula for it. There are a lot of other formulas that you have to have aside from fearlessness, but fearlessness is actually one of the keys to being successful, because if you know what you want and you really badly want to get what you want, then you're gonna have it eventually.
Right.
But again, also you have to manage your expectations. So we are just, we are all for empowerment, but we are also for, real talk in here. So
Yeah.
it's a balance of logic and, the strong emotion of getting what we want, but
Right.
we're also balancing it with logic. So if you've listened very closely to what Beth mentioned earlier, there's a lot of planning involved. It's also, yeah, I think most of us hate planning. I really hate planning as well, but ironically, it's a part of our of our lives. We cannot not plan. You get what I'm saying, right? It's really
Because
can't
planning
afford not
is
to not plan.
hard. Planning is hard.
Yes,
Planning is
that's
hard.
why not everybody does it, but we have to do it. I will say this again: to get what you want, you have to do what you hate.
Right.
So yeah,
And then don't forget your
and
faith. So you have your fearlessness. Yeah, right. You need to be fierce. You got to be fearless, but you have to have your faith, and you will have to plan for your failure as well. So your
yeah, those
favorite F
are
words. Well, failure is not your favorite F word, but it will become a favorite because you know that you're better for the failure. You've learned
yeah.
a lot of wisdom and knowledge from that.
Right, right. I totally agree. Failure is not something that we all want, obviously, but we actually learn more from failures than from successes. So don't take that for granted as well. So we're not telling you to forget about failures. Actually, there's a lot to learn about failures. So there you go. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for staying with us. Beth, any final words for our audience for tonight?
I was asking if they have any questions, any other questions they want to ask or clarify anything. I know it's a little bit over time, but maybe I can answer a couple of questions. Um, life is a journey. I mean, if here's here's what it says in the Bible. You're designed to work until the day you die. So yung mga
Oh.
retirement yan, that's actually a man-made concept. Sorry.
Mm-hmm,
And it doesn't mean like you're gonna work to the death. Okay.
mm-hmm,
If you've decided to take a step back in your older years and do more mentorship, you pivot, iba yung direction ng buhay mo. But it is nice to enjoy the fruits of your labor, but don't give up your comfort for what God has designed you to, because you never know who might need your expertise. And if you're retired, you might not feel that need, and they'll have to find somebody else less qualified and get really bad advice. So, yun lang ang ano ko. Be fearless also when you're planning in your later years. You really have to plan for that. Um, Plan for eventually when you're not going to be around. Yung mga St. Peter's plan, yung mga ganyan. Plan for your kids' graduation, plan for their wedding, plan for possibly pag may lupa kayo, ganon. You also have
mm-hmm.
to plan for your family's future and not just your own. And
Yeah.
sakit, just ko sakit ko rin yan. And I have to sit down and think about planning what's going to happen now that my children are almost all out of the house. And when, syempre kung maliliit pa sila, makulit, ganun, you don't think about that. But
Yeah.
yeah, you have to plan for your family's future as well, and not just your own. And that's how you can live a fearless life, because you already know that they're already taken care of. So,
Oh, this is a very good point.
yeah.
Also, I never thought of that. Like you perfectly mentioned it. I thank you so much for that advice. I'm taking that one. I'm definitely taking that one. I'm also near my 40s. So I'm gonna be taking that advice seriously now compared to when I was in my 20s. So yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
fearless
have a
living.
question here. Fear is an essential human emotion. How do you overcome this? Yeah, so that's a question. How do you really overcome fear? I mean, from your experience.
My experience, you acknowledge it. First, you acknowledge it, because you're like, oh, hindi ako afraid. I'm not afraid. Ako, wala yan, wala yan. No, because if you don't acknowledge your fear, then it has a bigger hold on you. It has a bigger hold. So ay nako, hindi totoo yan. Or, oo nga, I'm afraid to do this. But you know what? Then you can just say, you have to say it out loud. You can't just think it, because there is a power in your word, in the voice. Uh, if even if you say it and you're still freaking out, this is where your faith comes in, because
Mm-hmm.
perfect love casts out all fear. So, Lord, hindi naman ako marunong mag-pray. Magbasa ka ng salmo, andyan lahat ng mga prayer. And,
Oh.
the more you meditate on the great things that God has provided for you, that fear is going to go away. And you can even say, ay nako, yan na naman, bakit mo ako tinatakot? Hindi pwede. Alis ka dyan. You can say it, you can declare it, you can kick it out. You can kick those fearful thoughts out of your mind. But see, they're going to prey on your emotion like, ay, nako, hindi niya sasabihin yan. Nako, matatakot yan. Sige, tingnan natin. Let's see how much more they can get them to fear. Because we have an enemy that hates our guts. And so fear is the number one tool that they use to stop God's children from fulfilling their destiny. And I'm the same. Like,
Oh.
hey, I'm so afraid to go back to the classroom. Why? What if I have a purpose there? Or I'm so afraid to resign this job and go to another one because I'm really comfortable in this job, even though they treat me like crap, right? And so you have to vocalize it, and you can write it down and you can say it, and then you have to release that fear. Number
Mm.
one, release that fear. And if let's say hindi naman ako prayerful type of tao, you know someone who will pray for you. Maghanap ka. Go find someone, a pastor, if you have a priest, nun, somebody in your faith community will pray for you. Someone's always willing to pray for you. You can like text me, email, send me, leave me a voice message. I can pray for you because parang yan ang assignment ni Lord sa akin. And you know, once you take proactive action against your fear, slowly the grip will not be upon you na. Kasi
Mhm.
ano yan sagabal lang fear, sagabal lang fear. And they know that once they have you fearful, that they have you in their clutches. And that's not what God has planned for you. He plans love in your life, not fear. So yun, and even let's say, you can even do it in a logical way. Maghanap ka ng any quotes about your leaders, people you admire. Okay, what do they have to say about fear? What do they say about courage? What do they say about their struggles? Because a lot of, the enemy likes to think, would like for you to think na mag-isa ka lang. And because you don't vocalize it, you internalize it in your heads, na mabuang ka. Bisaya ako, sorry. Mabuang ka uh, sa dami ng mga thoughts of fear in your head and doubts. But the moment you start talking about your fear, and the moment you start saying, no, I'm going to stop the fear. And even if it's just verbal, then it
Mhm.
releases something in your brain. Like parang you give yourself permission to be courageous. And if
Oh.
you can't do that for yourself, go find somebody that could be your
That
husband,
will tell you.
will be your best friend, and like, ay nako, bakit ka na naman takot dyan? They'll tell you in your face. I'm going to share something about that fear. Hindi naman sa fear, but permission. Because here I am, I'm on holiday, right? And I'm thinking, oh, kasi siyempre wala namang katulong dito sa America. Oh, I have to cook and clean and make sure everything is, awesome and maayos yung bahay, and then work on my business. And yung parang naano din ako, nalilito na I felt like I was being held back and I couldn't do anything, and I felt like I was drowning. Then my husband said, honey, you're supposed to be taking a break. I'm not expecting you to do all these things. You're not supposed to be doing all these things. I give you permission to take a break. Once he said that, parang naano ako, biglang naglighten yung burden ko. And then
Oh.
and then I was able to really rest, and that's why I wasn't active so much on social media. Like, just ko nanood ako ng Netflix for the first time in 6 months. Nag-binge watch ako ng mga movies. But it wasn't like I'm watching, like, nag-binge watch ako, pero naglilinis pa rin ako, hindi yung, I'm just trying to strive and focus and trying to get my business off the ground. I was giving myself so much mental stress because I was afraid that if I didn't do that and use my time wisely, that parang sayang. But
Yeah.
in your struggle, you have to realize you also need to rest. And syempre, my
Oh, that
perfectionist self,
resonated so much.
yeah, you need to rest. And so nung sinabi ng asawa ko, honey, I don't expect you to do anything except to rest, because I know you just had a really toxic relationship in your old job and you had to recover. And I didn't. No, parang after the day after my contract, work, 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 work. So for 2 weeks I was like that. And then just the past 10 days, I was like, ay, oo nga, no? Kailangan ko talaga magpahinga. Because I was afraid that I'm not gonna have my income, replaced and all that. And fear can come in a lot of different forms. It can be physical, it can be mental, it can be about your job, your family, or yourself, or your relationship. But if
Mm-hmm.
you start talking to somebody about it, like, I give you permission to rest, right? I give you
Yeah.
permission to stop worrying. I give you
Yeah.
permission to take a break. I give you permission to put down that social media and go
Yeah.
for a walk. I give you permission to read a book instead of an electronic book. I give you permission to take a nap. I give you permission to call your mama, or not call your mama if she's like always making kulit to you. I give you permission to put your phone on airplane mode and just, anong tawag nun? Unplug from life.
Yeah.
If you don't give yourself that permission, and I realize that, I give you that permission right now. I give you permission to send flowers to somebody. I give you permission to have that extra scoop of ice cream. I give you permission to, finally call that your crush. Yee hee, mga ganon. I give you permission. If you don't give yourself permission, find someone. And it's, I mean, syempre may boundaries din yan, no? But I give you
Yeah.
permission to do that. If you won't give yourself permission, find out somebody who will speak that permission in your life. And there's
Oh,
such a freedom in
it's
that.
so hard. Now that I've heard it, it's so liberating.
Uh-huh.
Somebody telling you that you can actually take a break, or
Mm.
that you can. I was so happy that it's Friday, because I've been killing myself the entire week. I was like, when Monday came, I was like, okay, it's hustle. So the entire week I was hustling, and then came Friday, I was like, oh my God, I love Friday. And then I'm gonna talk to you. So I was like so excited. I'm gonna be back on podcast because I was absent last night. And I'm gonna talk to you. I know I'm gonna be so enlightened with this episode. And now that you're telling me that you're giving me a permission, it's like, oh my God, I can take a break. I can
Yes.
rest. Because
Yeah.
I haven't been sleeping really well. I have been sleeping for like 3 to 4 hours. I'll get back to work. I mean, I'm not complaining about work. It's just that sometimes I can be too hard on myself, and I know a lot of people out there can also relate to that. You being hard on yourself, not because your work is really pressuring you, it's just that you expect too much from yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that may be because nobody gives you the permission to take a break.
Right.
That's so powerful. That's so powerful. Now that I've heard it from you, I'm like, oh my God, after this podcast, I
Parang
deserve to
nawala
take
na
a
yung
walk,
stress mo, no?
maybe ice cream.
Have you noticed? Like,
Yeah.
I'm giving you guys permission, and I'm feeling the stress leave my body. So,
Yeah.
you guys in the
Yeah.
audience,
Very powerful.
I hope that stress just left your body, because it is really powerful, that giving yourself permission to rest, because God has set the example for rest. He didn't have to rest. I mean, he's beyond our space and time, and parang everything physical and chemical and spiritual. Ano siya, nasa labas siya niyan. So he doesn't have to do anything he didn't want to. But he
Hmm.
showed us on the seventh day that he rested, because he knew that we're gonna be, I don't know, mga workaholic na, just now work yourself to death, and perfectionist, imposter, everything syndrome, tiger parents, kailangan perfect lahat. And he's like, no, that's not my plan for you. My plan is to rest. I mean, Jesus rested. Diyos ko, tumatakas nga siya sa mga tao, no? Like, he would have to go on a boat in the middle of the lake to take a nap, because he knew he needed to rest. And he also knew he needed to work. But because he's in his physical body, he needed to rest. And so we have our physical bodies. We need to rest. And rest can doesn't have to be in the form of sleep. Resting can be
Yeah.
unplugging, resting can be reading your
Yeah.
Bible, or resting yung kung busy ka masyado, you can listen to, syempre may audio version naman ng Bible. And it doesn't have,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be scripture. It can be
Can be
scripture really helps.
meditations.
It can be motivational books. You can listen
Yeah.
to your favorite favorite speeches like Martin Luther King, or whoever, yung mga ganon. That can be your rest. Resting can mean no muna sa mga Zoom hangout, or even a face-to-face hangout. Rest means I'm going to get a manicure, I'm going to get a pedicure, I'm going to get a massage, magpapakulay ako ng buhok kasi teacher Beth has so many grays, Rest can take in a lot of forms, and rest can be just a walk around the block holding the hands of your
Yeah.
loved one. Yee! Yung mga ganon.
Yeah.
Rest can be anything. And you can even write down, okay,
Yeah.
what's rest for me? If you write it down, it's that the written
Right.
word is really powerful. So, what kinds of what does rest mean to you? And if you see somebody do something that you're like, oh, that looks like rest. Gayahin ko ko kaya. Rest can be just me a cup of coffee in the morning and
Yeah.
just looking out the
Yeah.
window and just breathe.
Yeah.
That could be
You
rest.
know, what's funny? For me, rest is just staring at buildings, because I live in the city, so it's like I'm
Mm,
just staring at the buildings, and that's rest for me. I mean,
right.
I can I can just basically stare at them and do nothing, and that's just even for like 5 minutes, and I'm already recharged. You don't
Uh-oh.
even have to fall asleep doing it, right? So yeah, that's so powerful. Thank you so much, Beth. I mean, I was already pretty sure that I'm gonna learn from you tonight, but I felt like I had a lot of burdens to carry. I was able to unload them because of the permission. Thank you so much. I was like, oh my God,
You're
I
welcome.
deserve this too.
And I hope that answered your question sa audience
Yeah.
about the fear. Parang
Yeah,
nag-paralyze na.
it was actually coming from a student.
Oh, thank you. Thank you
It
for
was
asking.
a private message. Okay,
So,
so yan na naman kasi 'di ba, yung mga the awkward interaction, stuff like
yeah,
that. So some people would just send you a message through private message. I mean, that's not that's also
that's
okay.
fine.
That's
That's
also
fine.
okay, no pressure. But again, fearless. If you want to have the answer, come and get it.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah, so it's been really fun, Beth. I know it's really early in the morning in the US, and at least in your time zone, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have you again. Okay, so inuutusan din kita to be back.
I got
Whatever you
negotiation
want to
also.
have. Yes. But I'm really grateful for the 10-minute break that I had, and then I caught you speaking in Makati House. I was so happy.
It's like now,
Thank
now.
you
Like,
so
okay.
much. Yeah, exactly.
And
Thank you so much, Beth.
you're welcome. And that's part of, see, you're being fearless too. You're like, oh, I gotta ask her now. Now's the time. Now's the time. And look where we are, right? Look where we
Yeah,
are right now. And you guys in the audience, just do it. I know, right? Parang Nike, no? But seriously, nothing gets done without doing what you hate. And if being fearless is doing what you hate, so eventually you can get to the doing what you love, then do
yeah,
it. It's got to be done. And that's how you're going to be fearless.
yeah,
Can I just
yeah.
close in a prayer before
For
we leave?
sure, for sure.
Yeah.
This is the first time that there's someone who's praying, so I really
Oh,
love
okay.
it. Thank
Well,
you.
that's God's assignment in my life. So, Father God, thank you
Yeah,
so much for Ice. And she came into my random room a couple of months ago, and it was just the two of us. And it didn't matter because, you said, wherever two or three people are gathered in my name, I'll be there. And you were definitely there. And you're definitely here. And I just pray for people in the audience, the people watching this video on replay. And I just pray the spirit of love over them. Because as you said in the Bible, perfect love casts out all fear. I pray for courage. I pray for wisdom. I pray for knowledge. I pray for peace that passes beyond understanding. and that no matter what they're going through in life, whether it's physical or financial or relational or in business, that you are always there and you are there to protect us and to guide us and to love us and to provide for us if we only ask. So I pray the spirit of fearlessness over them, that they may be fearless in asking you for anything and everything that you can give them, and that I give them permission to ask you things that they could not ask for themselves. I lift them up, lift you all up to our Father God by the blood of the Lord Jesus Christ. In his name we pray. Amen.
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 Gosh, thank you so much. That was so powerful. Thank you, Beth. It's been really an honor and pleasure and a lot of love that you shared with us tonight. Thank you so much. And I really hope that we can have you again for another episode, and maybe we can talk about faith next time.
Yeah, totally.
Aside from fearlessness. Thank you, Beth. And again, thank you so much to the audience and to those who are watching on replay. Thank you so much. Please also constantly support the channel. You can also visit the previous episodes. We've already had so many episodes ever since April because we've been doing it every Mondays to Saturdays. So a lot of videos that you can actually hang out on and constantly watch or maybe pause and then play it again if you need some reminders. And please also feel free to suggest some topics just like this one. Fearlessness is actually one of the topics that has also been one of the suggested topics from our previous audience. So thank you so much, and constantly remind yourself that you can have whatever you want for as long as, again, you pray for it, and then you also have to act on it with being fearless in doing the things that you love and you hate, so that you can get it, but without compromising your values. Okay,
That's
so
right.
I have to remind you that. Okay, so without compromising your values. Thank you, Beth, and thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you again tomorrow. It's Servicio Sabado tomorrow, which is all about public service. So it's
Ooh.
Servicio Sabado tomorrow. Same time, same channel. I'll see you, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and God bless you all. Bye bye. Thank you. Bye, Beth. Thank you.
Bye. Happy weekend. Have a great weekend, guys.
Happy
Bye.
weekend. You too. Bye.